What's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I am your host, Robert, and today we're going to be talking about Jojo Part 6. So that's me and Jotaro's struggles in fatherhood, as well as lots of other amazing anime and manga this week. So let's get to it. What is up, y'all? I hope everybody out there has had an amazing week, an amazing weekend, and I hope y'all are ready for some good conversations because, man, this week was jam-packed with some great episodes of some awesome anime this week. So as always, if this is your first time here, welcome. But if you're a returning watcher or listener, then welcome back. Y'all already know what it is. Daddy to Talk, all about fatherhood, manga, anime, games, and life in general. So, yeah. You already know. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on both the YouTube page as well as your preferred podcast listening service. And yeah, so let's go ahead and just dive right in because, like I said, it's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So let's not waste any more time. So yeah, as far as my week this week, man, it has been busy to say the least. Some of this is definitely it is definitely very timely. That I was going through some fatherhood and parenting stuff over the last few days, as I've also been watching JoJo's Part 6, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode. But yeah, like this last few days has been just like a roller coaster, and I'm gonna try to save it a bit for when a little bit closer to the JoJo stuff, But first off, I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to the podcast. So I did, Spotify is doing their kind of like year-end wrap-up stuff, whatever. So this is my first time. Really, this is my first year. Like, I never really ever used Spotify before I started podcasting, which has been, 8 months at this point, because I started in March, so about 8 months or so. And so all these different wrap up stuff, whatever, it's all new to me. So a couple things I just want to shout out real quick. So there is about 10 to 15 of you awesome listeners that have me as y'all's number one listen to podcast. So that is super awesome and super humbling to hear that, that there are some of y'all out there that listen to me more than any other podcast. So that is greatly appreciated. I know, shout out to the homie Silent P, who is the creator of good Lord, why am I? It is late at night. I apologize. Forgive me, Silent P. But Space Crush. It is, me doing these late night recordings. No, I'm not firing on all cylinders, so I apologize. But yeah, shout out to the homie, Silent P. Go check out his comic, Space Crush. And yeah, cause he reached out to me. And he screenshotted me an image of his podcast feed or his Spotify stuff, whatever. And he is one of my main supporters, main listeners. So shout out to you, man. You and your family, you and your awesome wife. So shout out to both you and Miss Cat. So that is definitely very cool to see. Another crazy stat. So now, of course, my podcast episodes is a little bit weird because, aside from the main podcast episodes like this one, every now and then I might put on the feed, bonus episodes that might be manga reviews, whatever. But basically, across, I have done 71 individual podcast episodes, in quotes, and that's added up to 4,204 minutes of content. And that is just what's on podcast feeds. That does not include extra stuff or extra videos that I've put up on YouTube or anything like that. That is just what is on. When you scroll down to the podcast feed, it's 71 pieces of content there from episode 0 to this. Well, now this will be 72. So I clearly I talk a lot. Because I know, that's a lot of stuff. Just being honest. But yeah, so very, very dope. Like I said, just seeing those stats. A little bit of, I guess, just so y'all know, like some of my top stuff, whatever. So for me, my top 5 podcasts on my Spotify playlist was, number 1 was the Next Lander podcast, which the host of that used to work over at giantbomb.com. And so I listened to the Giant Bombcast for years. Giant Bombcast / the Beastcast. But of course, stuff happened earlier this year. A lot of people left or whatever. So a lot of the core people that had been there since the beginning, a few of them left, started their own thing called Nextlander. So rocking with them. Of course, my homies at Kame House, Ren, Crystal, and Bilal. Shout out to y'all. Love y'all. Got y'all as number 2 on my podcast list. Number 3, more friends, Sine and Mike over at Blanime Podcast. Number 4, the brothers, Mike Check, Waifu, Polo and Tail. Got y'all at number 4 on my listening list. Which I find it funny that that my 3 anime podcasts, anime manga podcasts I listen to, whatever, they're all here in Texas. And 2 of which, Kame House and Blanime, are both up here in DFW like I am. And then Polo and Tail, Mike Check, they're down in Houston. So they're just kind of funny how that worked out. And then the number 5 podcast for me on my feed is Fire Escape Cast, which that's another, which I should have explained. So Nextlander, that's a gaming podcast, and Fire Escape Cast is also a gaming podcast, which is also made up of one of the people on there used to work at Giant Bomb a long time ago. He left a few years ago, whatever. Now he works for the WWE. So him and some other people that's kind of worked closely, whatever, they all started their own thing. So I got 2 gaming podcasts, bookending 1 and 5, and then awesome friends at 2, 3, and 4. So that's my podcast stuff. And as far as like my top 5 listened to songs, which once again, this is just in the last handful of months. Which it kind of is funny, just like looking at this list, and you kind of getting an idea of where my mindset and stuff was at this year. So number 1 on my music list was My Life, which is a J. Cole, 21 Savage, and Moray. Number 2 is Seeing Green, which is Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Lil Wayne. Number 3 is Ramen and OJ by Joyner Lucas and Lil Baby. Number 4 is a throwback. This is when I used to rock all the time when I was a teenager, like late teens. When I had my, I'd never forget, I was probably like somewhere between like 17 to 19, working at Dairy Queen, because I remember so many nights, because you know, my hometown, Jasper, very small town, didn't really have a car. I had, depending on what time frame this was, probably didn't have a car at the time, so I, walk to and from work, and especially like I remember like many nights, me walking the streets or whatever, and jamming number 4, ABN, Who's the Man. For those who might not know, ABN is some old school Houston rappers, Zero and Trey the Truth. So they came together. They had a little group called ABN, and Who's the Man, Who's the Boss, Man. And then number 5 is Every Chance I Get, which is DJ Khaled and Lil Baby. So and I think Lord, what is his name? DJ Khaled, Lil Baby, and let me see if I can find it real quick. Lil Durk. Yes. So like I said, like I said, just hearing the titles, My Life, Seeing Green, Ramen and OJ, Who's the Man, every chance I get. So that's kind of what I was rocking music wise this week. So I'm gonna see real quick. Okay, so other thing, some big news I can finally share for personal life wise or whatever. Before I get to like the craziness with the kids and tying that into Jojo's and all that stuff, whatever, is I finally got made full time on my job. So for those of you who might not know, or first time you're listening, or you might have forgotten or whatever, so the job I'm working at now, I'll just say it is it is in the medical field. I'll leave it at that. Pretty vague. It is pretty big medical related company here in DFW. Y'all know I work in IT, so computers, all that stuff. So after I left my crappy job a year ago, like summer of last year, the used car, being the main in-house IT guy for a used car company in DFW. Super horrible. I'll put them on blast. MEI Auto. Stay clear of them. If at all possible, you searching for jobs in DFW and you see something for MEI Auto, don't touch it. Do not touch it unless you were like mega desperate, or if you were like maybe single, have no life, you're young, whatever, go at your own risk. But no, never again. But anywho, not here to dwell on that. But basically, after I left that or whatever, came to the company that I'm at now and been working there as a contractor for the last year and a few months. Well, a few weeks ago, and I think I might have teased this a little bit a few weeks ago, whatever, but I didn't want to say anything until like all the paperwork cleared and everything went through. But I have officially been converted over to full time. So I went through my orientation earlier today, and tomorrow I'll be going to pick up my blue badge. So get rid of my old orange badge, my old orange contractor badge, and I'm turning blue tomorrow. So super awesome, super happy about that. Now, I didn't get all the W's because I was hoping for like a big pay increase, but baby steps, we'll get there. But main thing was the security of the job, just because I know a lot of the field techs and stuff on the team. They've been there, some of the dudes have been there for freaking 10, 15 years. And so clearly something must be going on right if they are staying there. So, of course, everybody got to start somewhere. And so, but yeah, I kind of, the last few weeks, of course, I've been doing my thing, which is why they hired me. But a few weeks ago, when things pretty much turned to the point where it's like, okay, hey, we're about to hire you, it's just a matter of, getting all the paperwork done and all that stuff cleared, I pretty much just turned things up, real talk, and just kind of stepped up and took charge. Just because with this position, so brief, talk about like a little bit of what I do. So pretty much my role is I basically work at the home base, the little corporate office, and so we are the team, or we are the part of the team that gets in all the equipment that goes out to hundreds of urgent care clinics, family care clinics, all these different medical facilities across DFW. Hundreds of them, hundreds of locations. So that is thousands of pieces of equipment. So like prime example, we're in the process of getting 800 desktop computers in. We have several hundred thin client computers. We have hundreds of laptops, all types of stuff. hundreds of all types of stuff, whatever. So my role in all this is basically handling the inventory, make sure, okay, everything's getting brought in, inventoried, set up, imaged, whatever. And then, of course, as the onboarding or the different field techs out actually managing the clinics, whatever, or the teams going out to set up new locations, they put in a request to us and like, hey, for this clinic over in or out in Rockwall or out in Mesquite or whatever, it needs 5 laptops, 30 all-in-ones, 16 scanners, yada yada yada. All that stuff comes to me, and so I pull all that stuff or help get it all prepped and stuff. So yeah, it's a very, very busy role. So yeah, so lots of stuff just going on, like I said, with that role in that position, as well as I also kind of help, like I said, just kind of help keep track of a lot of stuff, because like I said, we service hundreds of locations, and so it's always equipment coming in, equipment going out, stuff to prep, stuff moving around, all this stuff, whatever. So anyway, so I kind of been taking more initiative to kind of just taking control of certain situations or whatever. It's like, okay, certain people that have been there for a while, okay, y'all ain't gonna do what y'all need to do. I'm just gonna step up just because it's like because like I said, even though like yes, everything might not be where I want it to be 100% money wise right now, but just continue doing what I'm doing, put in work, and just kind of see where this journey takes me. But yeah, like I said, just want to share that awesome news with y'all. Very happy. Like I said, I'm gonna be going in the morning to get my new badge. So I got my nice polo shirt already pulled out. My haircut still looks somewhat decent from when I got it done last week, because I was supposed to start last Monday, but they bumped it a week. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that is what's going on with that. Other than that, I'm still gonna hold off on the fatherhood talk, whatever, because like I said, that's gonna tie in to some stuff I want to touch on with the Jojo stuff. But I guess just kind of just speaking in general, just had a busy weekend because I was on solo father duty this weekend. My wife had to go out of town for some business, family stuff, whatever, and so just me and my oldest, Vash is out with his great grandmother, living his best life, because we just video called him a few hours ago. He ain't trying to come back right now. The great grandmother, she's not trying to give him up. And so, I'm like, what? This is a perfect scenario, because there's no other like kids around the house out there right now, or whatever. And this is kind of like a golden opportunity of like, hey, she kind of is at the house mostly by herself. Need some entertainment, there's like a cousin there to kind of help with Vash too, but or one of the younger cousins or whatever. But it's also like, what? Why not? It's like Vash is 4. This will probably be his last year where he can kind of just come and go when and wherever, because next year he'll be starting school. So, or next fall he'll be starting school. So it's like, what? Because my wife, she was trying to talk to her grandmother like, hey, I'll come get him tomorrow. And she was like, no, get him this weekend. And so I was just like, what? I am okay with that. For one, hey, I'm gonna enjoy my peace while I can, cause I just know as the years go on, things are just gonna get busier and busier, noisier and noisier, cause kids getting older, more active and stuff. It's not just taking them to sport stuff. Then it's like, oh, somebody has a sleepover, somebody has a birthday party, somebody has this and that, and so it's like, okay, Vash wants to hang out, be gone for a couple weeks. I'ma let him. I love my son, but hey, live your best life. Enjoy the time with his great grandmother. While he can. So yeah, so Vash is out there doing his thing. And yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying getting some decent night's sleep. But yeah, so let's just go and just roll right into some other things. So coming up for this episode, just I'm gonna try to maybe start kind of giving this at the top, like some general stuff I'm gonna talk about. So like I said, for anime, I'm gonna kind of touch on Jojo's Part 6, like I said, Jobless Reincarnation, 86, Ranking of Kings, Demon Slayer Season 2, and a little bit of Blue Period. And for manga, primarily, as far as like weekly stuff, My Hero and Kaiju number 8. And tied in with the manga section, I want to try to start doing a new section every now and then. This isn't going to be like a guaranteed every week, every episode thing. But when appropriate, I kind of want to start incorporating more because, I go and buy all this manga all the time. And so sometimes it's a long time before, I might do a manga haul video like, hey, here's all the stuff I picked up over the last month or two and, things like that. And so I was like, you know what? I have this platform. I have a podcast. I can talk about stuff that I'm picking up as I'm picking it up. I know I have done that a little bit here and there, but I like to kind of make it a little bit more prevalent because, like I said, like, yes, I enjoy talking about the weekly chapters, but like I said, I was just trying to, figure out new and fun ways and different stuff, to bring to you, to the people. So that's kind of like I said, just like a rough rundown of what's coming up for this episode. As always, check the timestamps. If there's a certain section or topic or whatever you want to jump to, go ahead. So real quick, so just gonna touch on a couple of like super quick news beats. So first of all, let's go to this. Okay, so first up, so we have the announcement that Golden Kamuy Season 4 is coming. I'm not sure. I don't think they said if it was this year or when it was coming, but still just very glad and awesome to see that we are getting more Golden Kamuy. This is a series that I know a lot of people don't really talk about too much, or at least I don't hear too many people in kind of like more casual sense talking about this series, but super awesome. I still need to finish up season 3. But like I said, very happy to see that season 4 is coming. Actually, just for those that might be curious, cause the basic premise of Golden Kamuy is basically the main character who goes by the epithet Immortal Sugimoto. Basically, he meets this young girl who is from an indigenous people called the Ainu. And so basically they are on a journey of trying to find all of these escaped prison inmates who, I believe, if I remember correctly, her dad, who was also in prison at the time, had tattooed basically a roadmap to this like humongous treasure that he hid somewhere in Hokkaido in Japan. And so it is a very it is like a very kind of like more dark type of series, but it's kind of like it's like a historical theme series. But like I said, very, very awesome. I really enjoyed that series. Other thing, so we got our first trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. That was the thing that we didn't know, was that not only are we getting a sequel, we're getting multiple sequels, and this is just part 1. And so the cool thing is so we get to see Miles or whatever, but of course some time has passed, so he looks older and stuff. It looks really dope, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's coming out I know fall of next year. Let me see, Spider Verse 2, October 7th, 2022. So I'm pretty much a year away, a little under a year to go. So awesome, looking forward to that. And then another anime announcement. This is a series I'm not too familiar with, but still just want to give a shout out in case any of y'all listeners have read the manga. It's a anime announcement for a series called My Dress Up Darling. Now this one is so the premise of this, it is a slice of life romantic comedy. And so basically it revolves around a high school student who dreams of becoming a henna doll craftsman. One day during his first semester, popular classmate Myron sees him making doll costumes in the school's clothing room. Myron, who has wanted to cosplay for a while and has observed the MC's sewing skills, asks him to create the costume of a character from a video game that she adores. However, Wakanda has never made costumes on a human scale. And yeah, so it sounds pretty interesting. The visuals of it look really good. So looking forward to that. And I think that's like all like the quick little news stuff I wanted to touch on. I'm pretty sure there's something else because it feels like every week there's always something that I forgot to talk about. But it is what it is. If I did forget something, I'll talk about it next week. So next up, very briefly, I just kind of want to just touch on, I'm still playing and enjoying the Guardians of the Galaxy game. And this game has like had like some like very deep and surprising moments, to be honest. Because like I said, I just think it's always gonna be like a fun, wacky space adventure of the crew and their shenanigans as they go across space. But like prime example, not to spoil too much about the game, but I just played through a part yesterday where pretty much you and the team had to go through helping Drax come to terms of like his mental trauma that he's been going through with the loss of his wife and daughter. And so, like I said, that was like way deeper than what I was expecting, like I said, from a Guardians of the Galaxy game. But that is one thing that I have enjoyed and continue to enjoy is the cast, the core crew of the Guardians, as well as I've been doing some missions with Mantis involved from the Guardians universe. She's really dope. I really like her. I really like her design in the game. And yeah, like I said, I'm still really enjoying the game. Like I said, I didn't want to speak on it too much or whatever, but just let y'all know that, hey, I am still enjoying it, and I'm still definitely recommending, like, hey, especially with it being the holiday time, if you can find it on sale like I did, like I said, I got it for like $30. Highly recommend it. So yeah, so that's Guardians of the Galaxy game. So let's kind of dive into talking about some anime. So let's do this real quick. All right, so let's talk about JoJo's, and also like I said, kind of tying that in with what I've gone through the last few days of being a dad, a solo dad for the weekend. So of course, potential spoilers for part 6, but like I said, kind of I'm gonna touch on some stuff, whatever, within it. So just be aware if you haven't watched it or whatever. Just be aware of that. But hey, like I said, I'm also gonna kind of touch on and kind of tie this into, like I said, some just stuff that I've going through recently, whatever, fatherhood wise. And of course, shout out to my Jojo Part 5 shirt. I was very sad. I think my other shirt might have been dirty. But it was 2 particular shirts I was looking for. I have a muscle shirt with Jotaro on there. I also have one with Josuke, which I found, but I wanted to find the one with Jotaro. Can't find it. And of course, so JoJo's Part 6. So I got just kind of just real quick. So I am still a fairly recent JoJo's fan, and by recent I mean like the last maybe like 2 or so years. Just because me, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of people out there, I've always seen JoJo from a distance. Never watched it or honestly cared to watch it. But of course, if you're as active within the anime manga community as I am, you're going to tangentially hear that there are certain series or certain memes or whatever that you're just going to tangentially, through what's the term people use, through osmosis, that you'll pick up from different series. Like Dragon Ball. Oh my God, his power level's over 9,000. Everybody's probably heard that at some point, even if you never watched Dragon Ball. Luffy being the Pirate King. Believe it, loss of lines over time. And of course, famous one is, oh, you thought it was so-and-so, but it was me, Dio. For the longest time, I saw that, saw the memes all the time, whatever. And then finally, like I said, in the last couple of years, I finally took the plunge and was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna try out JoJo's, just because, like I said, it looks super weird, and I know some people are like, it's like, the art style itself throws me off, yada yada yada. But I was like, you know what, I want to take the plunge and at least give it a honest shot, and so I did. So, and I ended up more or less binge watching all of it at the same time. So if I remember correctly, I think I was catching up. I think it was when JoJo, I believe it was part 5, when part 5 was airing, like the second half of the anime. Let me see. Let's see, episodes. 2018, 2019. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. This makes sense. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So 2019, 2020. Um. So yeah. So for almost a few years ago now at this point or whatever. Actually, no, still 2 years ago. Anyway, point is, recent person watching JoJo's or whatever. And like I said, I finally, like I said, like watched that first season or whatever, or the first couple parts, and then it finally just hooked me. And like I said, here I am with 3 or 4 JoJo's related shirts in my home. But yeah, and I feel like watching part 6 this weekend, along with some stuff I'm gonna talk about in Jobless Reincarnation and 86 this week. All of these episodes, and it was just like a lot of shows that feel like it just had me just constantly like, what is that? What's going on? What the F? Just multiple times with multiple things. And so, yeah. So, more or less, so, and I guess, let me just say this just in case if somebody is listening to this podcast and you have no clue what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, like you've seen it, you don't know what it is. So basically, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure more or less traditionally follows somebody from the Joestar family or the Joestar bloodline. And so basically it is like this ongoing battle between somebody from the family and various enemies and threats, and everything kind of intertwines and interweaves at some point. So for majority of the seasons, or majority of the parts I should say, each of the primary JoJo, so every main character's, their first name, last name, or some combination or whatever, usually comes out to be JoJo. So, Joseph or Jonathan Joestar, Joseph Joestar, Jotaro Kujo, Jolene Kujo, who is Jolene is the MC for part 6. But yeah, so and like I said, it was Jonathan, then it was his grandson Joseph, and then his son Jotaro, so on and so forth. And yeah, and so here we are. But yeah, just like I said, family descendants, lots of fights and stuff. Anyway, moving on. So on part 6 specifically, whatever. So I knew beforehand. Just the only thing I really knew about part 6 going into it was just that the main character, Jolene, she is what's his name? Jotaro's daughter. Who Jotaro was the main character from part 3. So I did not know, until like the promos and stuff where it started coming out and trailers, but I did not know until recently that at least like the episodes that came out so far. So far they've only released the first 12 episodes of the season on Netflix, of part 6 on Netflix. But I didn't know that it's going to be taking place primarily within a prison. Because Jolene got in trouble. She got, falsely accused of a crime, or she got set up for a crime. And now she's serving 15 plus years in prison for this crime. And so through her being in time in this prison or whatever, she eventually finally gets to reunite with her dad because her dad has been absent from her life for a long time for reasons that she didn't know or understand at the time, and thus, it kind of, came to the situation that we have now. So I'll just say up front, I enjoyed this part. Like I said, I think I also just like to, once again, I got to binge it, which I got to binge like pretty much like all the other parts too, at least like as I was watching them, got to watch them at my own pace, except for like the tail end of part 5, because that's when I had caught up. But yeah, so it was just kind of nice, just like over the last few days, just to kind of chip away and watch a few episodes or a handful of episodes a day. And so I like Jolene. I like Hermes. I really like the weather dude. His Lord, I almost said quirk. His stand ability is really cool. And that is just one thing I just continue to like about JoJo's. It's just that the variety of different powers and abilities and stuff, and some of which you're like, I'm surprised, we're 6 parts in or whatever, that this is our first time seeing this ability. Because, like, prime example, one of the people that they go against or whatever in this one, he can turn everything to 0 gravity. Okay. Dude that controls weather. Just all types of stuff like that. I did like Hermes, or Hermes, however you pronounce her name. Because at first I was like, okay. Because, her ability was she got these like little stickers that popped up in the palm of her hand. And basically, whatever she puts it on duplicates. But at first I was like, okay, how is this going to be useful? But as always, watching JoJo, it is just full of just so much creativity and stuff. That's like one thing I really love and enjoy about the series. It's just like, for, as weird and quirky as the series looks, whatever, from the outside, I just really like that's just like part of the flavor, part of the style of the series. As you can freaking tell from, you know, Bucciarati and Giorno and Gio and their whole crew, whatever, from part 5 of my shirt. It's like you just look at these characters and you can't help but see and feel the vibe with them, But yeah, so one thing I kind of like to just want to just touch on, like I said, just kind of like, with Jotaro, coming to the prison to visit his daughter and basically trying to help her out or whatever. And then, throughout this season, Jolene, like I said, kind of learning more and getting more context to why her dad wasn't around when she was a kid, or she thought that he was only doing some marine biologist stuff, but he's actually doing stuff with the Speedwagon Foundation and all this different stuff, whatever, going on a bigger scale that she had no clue about. So, I said, just kind of just tied into, because, just kind of like the whole thing of like being a parent, being a dad, fatherhood, just parenthood in general, of just like sometimes the sacrifices or compromises sometimes you have to make as a parent for your kid in different things, different situations. Because prime example, this weekend, there was a big anime convention that happened here out in Fort Worth called Anime Frontier. First time this event happened or whatever, pretty big. Lots of fellow content creators that I know online flew into town, went to the event, all that fun stuff. Lots of big voice actors, all that stuff. So everybody had a good time. Shout out to everybody that went to Anime Frontier. And so at first I was going to try to go, because, like I said, with Vash being gone, it's just my older 4. They can chill at the house by themselves, no problem, whatever. But in the back of my mind, something's kind of like, you know what, maybe kind of hold off or wait and see. And then eventually my mind was just kind of like, you know what, as much as it sucks and as much as I would love to go see meet some of my online friends for the first time or whatever, I should probably kind of just chill out, take a step back, and just kind of, you know, stay put or whatever. And I'm glad I did because, you know, because for one, I know, or I had a feeling that I probably wouldn't get to experience the convention to the full capacity that I would ideally like to, just because, you know, I'd be worried about, okay, you know, one of the kids gonna call me, something gonna happen, yada yada yada. And plus, you know, a couple of my kids had games, practices, and stuff, whatever, throughout the weekend. So of course, then that cuts down even more time on me going to the convention and stuff, whatever. So anywho, that's all me kind of just saying. I ended up staying home. Like I said, it worked out for the best because, you know, one of my daughters ended up not feeling well, to the point to where they went out to, or they were going to, I think, celebrate one of their best friends' birthday parties or whatever, going bowling. They left the house for 20 minutes, which is the time it took them to drive out to where they was going, and we get a call from the mom of the friend that one of my daughters wasn't feeling well, and I had to go pick her up. Now, what would have happened if, you know, I wasn't around, wasn't at home and stuff, whatever. And, you know, luckily, you know, like I said, with me being home, okay, it was 20 minutes away right down the road, not that big of a deal. But if I was at Anime Frontier, which that alone is like 30, 40 minutes from where I live, so going from there to there or whatever, that would have been even more time. So, you know, like I said, things kind of worked out, you know, as they should have, for that situation. But yeah, like I said, just kind of, you know, me going through that type of stuff, whatever, this weekend, you know, just kind of, like I said, just kind of like made me really put into perspective, or kind of like, you know, just, you know, I always kind of look at things a little bit differently with anime and manga, whatever, all this stuff nowadays, playing video games, all this stuff, whatever. Anytime there's like a parent-child relationship, especially when it ends up being a father and a child, you know, because me having 3 sons and twin daughters, you know, that's why, you know, I kind of, you know, relate so much to, or not necessarily relate, but I vibe with watching Sakugan and Ranking of Kings, and, you know, the last God of War game and different stuff like that, you know. Assassin's Creed Origins with Bayek and what him and his wife was going through with their son, all the different types of stuff. But yeah, but like I said, just wanted to touch on that briefly. I am definitely very excited and very hyped for more of part 6. Cause at first, like the way things are kind of ramping up there, and those last like couple episodes 11 and 12, I'm like, man, I hope they're not gonna leave us on like this humongous cliffhanger. Which luckily it wasn't too bad. It kind of ended and broke at a decent spot. But you know, it kind of gave us a small little arc, but I can tell there's still probably still a decent amount left to go. I am curious, you know, like how long this part will be. You know, will it only be 25 episodes, or is it going to be longer, so on and so forth? Just because I don't really know, because, you know, I don't follow the manga for JoJo's, so I don't really know like how long some of these parts, how long some of these parts and stuff is. But yeah, but like I said, just keeping it nice and short. Go watch it. If you've already been watching, or if you're already a fan of JoJo's and you haven't watched part 6, but somehow you listen to this part of the podcast, go check it out. Go give it a watch. I'm definitely recommend it. And like I said, if you haven't watched JoJo's at all, give it a shot. You know, I'll say, you know, part 1, you know, is kind of setting up more of kind of like world building and character building for stuff that's to come and some of the later parts, whatever. But it's still, like I said, pretty enjoyable within itself. So yeah, go watch JoJo's part, or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like I said, all the parts are now on Netflix. So if you have access to Netflix, go watch some JoJo's and enjoy some lovely poses and some some very provocative. Cause man, that one scene with Jolene, when she first went to prison, they made her strip, and she did that pose. She's like, "Oh, like this?" And I was like, "Whoa, man!" This was definitely tough to watch this weekend with the kids coming in my room, because I'm having to pause and make sure I don't pause on awkward parts, and sometimes I have to just turn my TV off or whatever, because there was one scene where Jolene was putting the CD into her face. And I had paused on that because, hey, it's nothing too crazy, whatever, for me. And so my middle boy came in the room, whatever, was asking me something. He looked at the TV, he was like, what is going on? So, but yeah. So, anyway, but yeah, go and watch JoJo's. So, moving right along, I gotta touch on freaking Jobless Reincarnation. So, and I believe his name was let me see, Orsted. So this dude Orsted, which I believe he is the dragon, what is his name? The Dragon King, Dragon God. So, this episode, as in the words of one of my online friends, Panda, talked about this morning, this episode was a primary case of Rudy needs to shut up. Because Rudy's curious but talking, not reading the room, pretty much got himself killed, more or less. Just because honestly, like we knew things were gonna be building back up or whatever at some point or whatever. But man, I did not expect it to escalate like it did in this episode. Like it did in this episode, and like out the gate, like the kind of like tease of what happens later in the episode or whatever, with like everybody like Ruger and Eris knocked out, or Rudy bleeding, all this stuff. So they're traveling, and if you're traveling and you come across some unknown people passing or whatever, or but before they even get within your line of sight, if you see Ruger and Eris stop and look tensed up, then you know something's going on. Especially if Ruger is tensed up, because as long as this dude has been with us all season, this dude has been the strongest character that, like one of the strongest characters that we've met up until this point in the series. And if he is stopped trembling a little bit, maybe you should take a note, Rudy, because as the people, as Orsted and his companion were walking by, Ruger clearly says, "Hey, don't say nothing, do not interact." Their freaking bull, or whatever animal that they had with them that was pulling their stuff, just out of fear, runs and jumps off a cliff. That should be another sign for you, like, hey, maybe let's not mess with these people. If the strongest dude on my team, who is stronger than me by many leagues, especially when it comes to, like, at least the physical part or whatever, if he is tensed up and seemingly scared, and then our pack mule, basically, whatever, runs and jumps off a cliff, maybe I don't want to know what is up with these people. But no, Rudy opens his mouth and he's like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, do you know my friends Ruger and Eris? Do you know them? Huh? Just curious." And of course, the dude is like spitting all types of facts, talking about both of them, but he's like, I don't recognize you talking to Rudy. And Rudy keeps talking. And Orsted ends up asking him, like, hey, do the words man God mean anything to you? And Rudy's like, oh yeah, that's my buddy. Rudy turns around before he even finishes his sentence. His demon eye shows him getting impaled. Luckily, Rudyard steps in, blocks, struggling, and we get this awesome, to no avail, but still awesome scene of Rudyard just going in. But all along, the whole time, Orsted blocking with one hand his spear while tagging him gut, face with the other hand. And then pretty much took Rudyard out. And then Eris tries to come in, and Orsted caught Eris's blade the same way how Aizen caught Ichigo's blade back in Bleach. When Ichigo thought he was all that, came running in, swinging, and Aizen caught it. And then trying to cut him in half. That happened with Eris, but she got the ish punched out of her right into a wall. So, then he walks up and pretty much just hits Rudy. Now, of course, I think he hits him multiple times because Rudy, he has a vision of like multiple parts of his body getting tagged, but the dude just walks up, touches it, like basically just like hand around his like his stomach waist area or whatever, and Rudy starts coughing up blood. Then, of course, Rudy gets up, or Eris tries to shoot magic. She can't do nothing, whatever. Rudy tries to shoot this, like, metal spear thing, whatever. Dude blocks it, or whatever. Rudy tries to make a fireball. This dude nullifies his magic. He just, like, nullify magic. Can't do nothing. So, then Rudy creates some space between them, whatever. Gets himself back up, whatever, propped up, whatever. He gets ready to launch this humongous attack. This dude, Orsted, summons a freaking Ouroboros circle. Like freaking, like some Full Metal Alchemist stuff. This freaking, like this silver circular dragon gate thing. And Rudis fires this humongous purple energy wave. Dude, I just love when people just say like badass names of movies and stuff, whatever. You just like open worm gate, and that thing starts blocking the attack. But of course, his little gate thing starts cracking a little bit, but he ends up still blocking it or whatever. Then he ends up picking up Rudy and just impales him. Just like, hey, tell your homie man guy that I'm coming for him. And kills him. But whatever his companion said or whatever, he ends up, reviving Rudy. But man, this is truly just the beginning of this series. Because I was talking to somebody online, I'm not going to spoil anything or whatever, but just they have read like way ahead in the manga or light novels or whatever. And they said like we're barely even scratching the surface in the anime, which I expected because, a couple times when I've been out at the store and I've glanced at a couple of the volumes for Jobless Reincarnation, you can clearly tell like, okay, we got a long ways to go, because I'm seeing character designs for like older versions of certain characters, and I'm like, okay, we still got a ways to go. And especially if you got to do this freaking dragon god Orsted just slow diffing everybody on the crew. So that episode is wild, and like I said, I'm just, man, cannot wait to see what is coming up next. Speaking of wild episodes, freaking 86, man, this was another episode where, like I said, between this and Jobless Reincarnation, I was just like, my jaw was just dropped. Because So this episode, let me see. Let's see if I can get this real quick. So, episode 19 of 86. So they end up infiltrating and getting closer to what they think is like the main body of the enemy attack, whatever. Wrong. It was a dummy setup or whatever, like a dummy device, whatever, to lure them in closer, because they let me see, where was it? Cause basically they end up finding this thing, and basically they end up thinking, okay, hey, we found it, we're close to whatever, and this thing ends up like putting up this like giant like antenna thing, whatever, and does that like this like energy pulse thing, and let me see, yeah, does this like this like crazy energy show or whatever, and then ends up not really doing anything, cause they're hearing a voice say, I'll kill you all, but then the whole area, everything goes dark, and so then way off in the distance, way on the outskirts of the city where they're in, while everything is black, they hear the young girl shout out to them, being like, "Hey, get out of there, he'll kill you." And then briefly, hey hears a voice say, "I'll kill you." And then he tells everybody, he's like, "Yo, we gotta go right now." And so we see this freaking giant thing up on a cliffside. Look like it has freaking 4 angel wings, like it's freaking Angemon from Digimon. Wings go up. Energy beam. Light up. First it is like a wave, just like a pre-beam, just like wave, knocks out all the power, electricity, and then energy beam clears out whole big chunk of the city, just gone in one blast. Of course, they lose communications with their home base, all that stuff, whatever. And so, yeah. So basically, then the team moves in to try to go take on that thing. But man, just that moment of them thinking like, okay, hey, we got up close to the thing, whatever. We're here, just to find out that it's been just an old bait and switch, and they got drawn in and into a trap. That issue was just like so freaking crazy. But yeah, so that's really all I wanted to touch on with 86. So moving on to Ranking of Kings, episode 8. Let me see. So Ranking of Kings, episode 8. This episode was good because we got a lot more backstory and stuff on King Bose and his story, and basically like what led up to Boji's birth. So basically, he ends up, we get a little bit more background into that demon that we saw like in episode 2 or whatever, that came out of his dead corpse, and basically he goes to this demon and is like, hey, make me stronger. And so basically the demon is like, okay, I will grant you this wish, or the only way I can grant you this wish is basically, he has, you have to offer something. And so basically he wants to get stronger or whatever. And so he's like, well, basically he needs to take from something. And so he's like, well, I can steal power from a blood relative, Bose is like, I don't have a family or whatever. And so then that's what leads him into going on, or out into the world and finding the woman, the other female giant, who is supposedly one of the strongest people in the world. And they have a little test of strength or whatever, because he's basically like, hey, shawty, I like you, want to have a family with you, what's up? And she's basically like, hey, you got to show me something. And he did. They fought, and so, yeah, then skip ahead a little bit of time, and we see Bose is kind of in the middle of combat with a bunch of, like, orcs and stuff. And he's pretty much at his ropes end, where he's about to die. And right at the crucial moment, he gets a sudden surge of energy, where his bones and stuff is regenerating, stuff is popping back into place, and then he's like, so my son is born. And so that is the moment where the whole curse thing around Boji comes into play. And so with that also being said, though, so we pretty much get confirmation in this episode that, like, yes, King Bose did take over Daida's body. And so he ends up having a moment where he's talking with the mirror as he's but before then he's like, hey, I should be the strongest in the world right now, right? And she's like, no. So basically there's like the mirror on the wall, who's the strongest of them all? And it ends up showing our boy Boji is supposedly the strongest in the world right now. Don't know what exactly that means, and whatever, I'm excited to find out. But later in the episode, we also kind of get a little hint of what Boji's been up to, whatever, as the guy that's training him basically tells Kage, like, hey, Boji has finished his training. He's ready to go. So I'm just very curious, like, okay, what does all of Boji's training means? And when are we going to get to see him confront King Bose? So, very excited. We still have a long ways to go, because this season is supposed to be about 24 episodes long. And we're on episode 8. We haven't even hit double digits yet, so we're not even halfway through. But yeah, so this episode, like I said, we just kind of just got to learn more, just like I said, like King Bose's backstory and stuff. And it kind of just made me think about the whole thing, like with this series of Ranking of Kings. It just kind of makes me think of how this series makes you start to love the ones you hated, and also in reverse makes you start to hate the people that you loved originally in the series. Just because at first we was like, oh man, King Bose, we love him, he's so sweet and caring about Boji. Then we find out that not only did he sacrifice Boji, putting on this curse on him or whatever, but thus making him the way he is now in order to obtain his strength originally, but he also took over his other son's body. So this dude is just crazy. And so last thing, just kind of touch on real quick, like throughout this episode, we see him kind of like start to inform other people, like, yes, it is me, King Bose, inside of this body. And so he's making his connections, making his moves. So yeah, so it's a Ranking of Kings, man. Episode 8 is still good. Real quick, just want to say real quick, just man, I am so happy that Demon Slayer Season 2 has truly began. Now, I did not watch any of the episodes that they did readapting the Mugen Train arc. Maybe someday I'll get to it. I'll go back and watch it, because I know that they did add some more stuff in there. I honestly didn't care about it too much at this point, because I'm like, man, I just saw the movie earlier this year, so I don't really need to see, as awesome as that movie was and those scenes were, I don't really need to see it all again stretched out over the course of a month, 7 episodes or whatever. But anywho, we are now in the thick of the true Season 2, the start of the Entertainment District, the Red Light District arc with Hashira. I believe his name was is it Tengen? Tengen? Hashira Tengen. Yeah, Uzi. And of course, the internet's going wild. Everybody's trying to be his fourth wife. Everybody's loving the scene where he had the girl on his back and he smacked her butt. But I am just super awesome, super hyped to just watch this season. I've mentioned before, I've already read the manga, so I know how this is going to play out. But I am still so excited to see all this stuff animated and in motion. I enjoyed seeing, Tanjiro meet, Rengoku's dad and younger brother, and all those scenes and stuff. The little mini training montage with him, Inosuke, and Zenitsu all doing their thing. But yeah, I'm just ready for us to get into the thick of this entertainment district arc. Just with the slight teaser we've seen, we already know this show is gonna look good. But man, yeah, they proved it this episode. Like, yeah, hey, if anything, the budget maybe went up. So, but yeah, like I said, just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And lastly, just want to give a shout out to Blue Period for continuing to be a comfort series for me. Just because, it is a show that, I've mentioned before that I enjoy watching Saturday mornings. It is kind of like that comfort show to kind of get me started in the day. Just because, like I said, it's a little bit more slower paced, a little bit more relatable. Just in the sense of, I'm not necessarily a artist in the traditional sense as the characters are in the show, but I am a content creator, so kind of still similar, thoughts and stuff, whatever. But just seeing, these characters continue to kind of like struggle, especially with our MC, kind of struggle with finding his own style, his own voice and stuff with his art and what he's doing. And I just loved how, I'm trying to remember, forgive me, I think this might have been like episode 7, I think. Sorry, let me look it up real quick, just because I know some people are also watching it, the online or whatever, so that's a little bit ahead. But let me see, Blue Period, episode 8, Brain Racking. So this is where they're deep into or they just did like the first exam of the college testing, whatever. And so yeah, so I like how this show basically just reminds us of like, hey, sometimes you can find inspiration in the bad times as well. How sometimes what you think is the perfect scenario for you to find inspiration for your art may not be the perfect scenario. Because prime example, when they are in the room and they're testing whatever, he is stressing out because they had to do a self-portrait. So, at first he's thinking about just doing like the kind of like idealistic way a lot of people might think of it, is just like, oh, let me just kind of show like a mirror of, like him looking at himself type of thing. And then he's kind of going back and forth or whatever. But this chick that was in front of him, she was backing up because, she's kind of trying to get some distance from her canvas to kind of, look at her art. She ends up bumping into the MCs, and forgive me, I should have his name. Is it Yotaro? Yeah, Yotora. As bumps into his painting thing, whatever, and his mirror ends up breaking. And at first he is distraught because he's like, man, am I going to get expelled from the exam for this because of this situation? Yada, yada, yada. And as he's looking at the broken pieces of the mirror, it hits him. He gets the inspiration for this fantastic piece of art that he does, to where basically it is his face, but it's kind of split up with the way he kind of does like lines and the coloring and different stuff, or the shading, I should say, of it. But yeah, it was a very beautiful painting, but it was one to where he might not have came to that conclusion if this situation didn't happen. So it is just a reminder to us, for any of us, not regardless if you're, if you are a traditional artist, you're a podcaster, you're a YouTuber, you're a Twitch streamer, whatever your craft is, whatever you're passionate about, whether you're, business, making clothes, selling stuff, foods, whatever you're passionate about or whatever, just because things might not look the best right now, don't give up, because it doesn't mean that this is the end. Sometimes we find our path, sometimes we find our way in the struggle of being in the midst of certain situations. So hey, like I said before, I don't talk about it every week, but I do watch it every week. But for sure, if you're looking for something just like a little bit more chill, but something that you might find some inspiration from, I recommend y'all please check out Blue Period. Like I said, I'm watching it on Netflix. It's currently 8 episodes long. It comes out every Saturday, so please go check it out. Show Blue Period some love, because it, like I said, definitely deserves it. So let's go real quick. Gonna touch on a couple of manga things, and then we're gonna kind of jump out of here. So let me see real quick. Let me get something set up real quick. So let's go and just dive into some manga real quick. So we're going to start off with My Hero Academia, manga chapter 336, titled Villain. And so first off, starting off, we got this very dope color spread for the chapter. This was the top 10. But yeah, this was the top 10 for the character popularity poll. Now, I don't 100% remember the order. I know for sure, actually, let me pull up something real quick. I know for sure that that the top 3 in order was Bakugo was number 1, Deku 2, and Shoto Todoroki was number 3. Now, I'm trying to remember, let me see something real quick. I think, sorry, I'm trying to stall, buying some time. I can't find it, but basically, just naming off the rest of them. Actually, let me just look it up real quick. Okay, so yeah, so number 1, Bakugo, number 2, Deku, number 3, Shoto, number 4, Kirishima, number 5, Hawks, number 6, Ida, number 7, Aizawa, 8, President Mike, 9, Rhodey from the recent movie, and number 10, Shinso. So unfortunately, none of our best girls made it in the freaking top 10, man. No Mirako, no Froppy, no Uraraka, none of them. But anywho, this color spread is very dope. All of them are standing next to various animals. Bakugo has a wolf. Shoto has a leopard, snow leopard maybe. Kirishima has a turtle. Shinso has a black cat. Aizawa has an orange cat. Hawks has a hawk. President Mike, he's on a parrot or a cockatoo, some type of bird. And Ida's on a horse. And Deku, I can't tell, is that a sheep or a ram? One of the two. But he is next to that. Or a goat, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, very dope. Looks very cool. So this chapter, titled Villain. So, and of course, hey, spoilers. Spoiler. So, last week, we thought we had got the reveal of the villain, or of the traitor, the UA traitor. But it was the old bait and switch. The reverse card. So, it was our boy, or maybe not our boy, but it was the cheese-loving, can't stop twinkling guy, aka Naval Laser, Aoyama. He was the villain. So the chapter, kind of started off with just like some like everybody kind of doing a little bit of training and stuff, whatever. Don't really care. We'll see the results of that later on. The crux of this was Invisible Girl is in the woods. Or before that, we have a moment where Deku's kind of looking around. I guess he notices somebody's missing, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna step out for a second." Then we move over and we see Invisible Girl listening she's in the woods listening in on a conversation, and it is Aoyama and his parents. His parents talking about basically just spilling all the tea, all the information, about how telling him he doesn't have a choice. Another order has come in from him, talking about All for One. And basically it just kind of gets into them talking about the whole, they wouldn't have done this if they knew what was going to happen, the repercussions of all this stuff. Because, man, we get this devastating freaking panel of Aoyama. It was double page spread on page 8 and 9 on Shonen Jump on Viz, of just him just bawling, just crying. And it's like, man, we've never seen him like this, which is the wild thing. But basically, we kind of get a little bit more backstory. So basically, he also, growing up, he didn't have a quirk either. And so this kind of starts to tie pieces together back to that one arc when he's kind of being a little creepy around Deku or whatever. And there are certain moments where he kind of is like talking about how he can relate to Deku, and they're similar and all this stuff, whatever. Little did we know at the time that, man, they were similar in so many ways, not just the fact of like them kind of like being to themselves, whatever, sometimes, but also the fact of like they also were both quirkless and ended up getting a quirk from somebody else. In this case, All for One gave him this naval quirk, which, a lot of people have been saying like it's kind of crappy of All for One to give him that quirk. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, like we are with this dude now, man. So I don't know, and of course while this is going on or whatever, of course Deku pops up, whatever, and is just like, yo, Invisible Girl just kind of fill me in, dog. Like, what is going on? So yeah, man, this is just pretty wild to finally have this reveal. Hopefully this is like the 100% confirmation and no other bait and switches happen or whatever. But yeah, man, that was just like a pretty wild reveal for that to happen. Now I am a bit concerned because let's not forget, not that long ago, what happened with Lady Nagant. All for One gave her a quirk, or gave her an additional quirk for her to work with him or whatever. But when she was defeated and she was about to try to potentially start helping Deku them, whatever, he basically self-destructed and blew her up or set off some type of like internal bomb thing, whatever. And so it kind of has me worried, like, okay, are we going to see Aoyama explode? Are we going to see him get killed, his parents get killed? I just know this isn't going to be a pretty result, whatever the case is, because I just don't see this going back to traditional wise of how, hey, this is how, hey, we're going to go back to being a fun-loving class 1A. Like, nothing's happened or whatever. It's like, no, too much stuff has happened. We know he's a traitor or has been involved with stuff because it just kind of keeps touching on certain things. It's like, yeah, he told them where the training camp was going to be. He told them to be where this thing is going to happen, where that's at or whatever. And so, yeah, he's just been too detrimental to everything going on. So, yeah, just very curious, like, where things are going to go from here. So, last weekly chapter I want to touch on real quick before I get into some other stuff briefly. But Kaiju number 8, which I actually picked up volume 1 a couple hours ago, which I'll touch on this stuff in a second. But yeah, Kaiju number 8, chapter 51. I'm kind of tying 50 and 51 together because I don't think I didn't talk about 50 too much. But basically, we just kind of continue the fight between the director and Kaiju number 9. And man, just seeing him just go in, just like with these attacks and stuff, whatever, like, I just, man, just someday, fingers crossed, hope we get to see Kaiju number 8 animated. Because, man, between this and then what happened last chapter, no, this was this chapter, where that punch sent a beam through a freaking skyscraper and caused it to internally collapse and then freaking explode. So, yeah, I hope to see that stuff animated someday. I have strong faith, especially now we got Spy Family anime coming soon, or coming next year, I mean. But we see them going clashing or whatever, and basically the director told the dude over the last couple of chapters, like, hey, take off my limiters, I'm about to just go in. And so it looks like Kaiju number 9 has survived that last attack, because he's like, too bad, this is the human limit. If you had a kaiju body, I would have lost. And then the director is just like, one more attack. He's like, come on, number 2, come back. Or number 9 is like, come back to the kaiju side. And then we just see an explosion, and we see Kafka and First Commander showing up, and we just see the director just standing over Kaiju number 9's body. But too many questions. Like, one, is he still alive? And 2, is this actually the director, or did Kaiju number 9 take over his body? Because as awesome as it would be to see Kaiju number 9 taken out, I doubt he is fully dead here. Or hey, maybe he is, and then we'll just get into a bigger threat, Kaiju number 10 or something, whatever. Actually no, I think we already got Kaiju number 10. Kaiju number 10. Did we already get Kaiju number 10? Oh, this dude. Oh. Never mind. We already got Kaiju number 10. Yeah. Anywho, I don't know, but I'm just very curious to know, is this just going to be like the triumphant send-off for the Director General, where he managed to take out Kaiju number 9, but at the expense of his own life? Or what? So, but go read Kaiju number 8, which volume 1 should be in stores now as of this podcast recording going out. And speaking of which, real quick, just to kind of wrap up the show, or kind of like the last part of the show I want to kind of touch on or whatever. So, like I mentioned up top, I want to kind of at least just like I said, even if just like super brief or whatever, within like the manga sections of these podcast episodes, I want to start bringing in more of the physical volume style of stuff that I read. Because yes, I love reading my weekly stuff, whatever, but sometimes I don't feel like talking about everything every week. Prime example, hey, cool, One Piece was cool this week. Sanji versus Queen. Don't really have nothing else to say aside from that. And so there might be, there's some weeks where, hey, I have a crap ton of anime I want to talk about. Some weeks I only want to talk about a couple anime, a bunch of manga. So I figure, where applicable, I want to bring more stuff to y'all, bring stuff to the people. And so y'all know I love going on what I like to call manga hunts. And so for those who might not know, what I mean by that is basically I enjoy the chase, the hunt of chasing down physical manga volumes. Yes, some stuff, whatever, and some of the stuff is the case with that, but some stuff like, yes, I could just order online and get it whenever, but there's also that thrill of going to a couple different stores in the area and finally coming across the last copy of a series or something, because last month 3 manga I had picked up all happened to be the last copies or the only copies of their respective series in the whole store. That was Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games, Kiruru Kill Me, and Frieren Beyond Journey's End. All 3 of those at 3 different locations were the only copies at their respective stores. So, love the hunt, But of course, what is a good hunt if I don't come back and share the spoils? And so I want to do something like kind of like say manga hunt slash calling this volume up. And so just because of like, cause I do, or I'm trying to do, of course, still do like my first impressions episodes where I kind of talk about certain manga and stuff separately or whatever, for my first time reading it or whatever. But I was like, how do I want to handle reoccurring series that I'm reading? Because like prime example, Karate Survivor Volume 2, Karate Survivor in Another World Volume 2. Now, I really enjoyed Volume 1, did a separate little mini episode on that, but then I'm like, okay, I don't want to do, or all series, I'm not going to do a freaking full separate podcast thing or whatever for every single episode or every single volume of everything I read, but I still would like to highlight and just, let y'all know, hey, this is stuff that I'm reading that's not the traditional Shonen Jump manga series. And so I figured, I was like, you know what, this would be a cool, fun way for me to do that. And so, yeah, so like I said, finished reading Karate Survivor Volume 2. I'll say this, pretty much after reading this volume, it pretty much sold me on the series that now going forward, as long as I'm capable to, I will continue to just buy the volumes as they come out. Because for me, I'll give stuff like a volume, maybe two, depending on how I'm feeling or whatever. And this is one I'm definitely sticking with because just like the first volume, I read this all in one sitting. Like once I started, blazed through the whole thing, read it all in one sitting. So that's how I know, okay, like I said, and yes, this series might not necessarily be doing nothing like super crazy, new and unique or whatever, but what it does, I feel like it is doing well. And like I said, it's just telling this simple story of this guy got reincarnated in another world, and the only ability he has is just karate. Simple premise, but like I said, I just like the way that it's done. So, really enjoying that. I finished Volume 2 of Call of the Night, and let's see if I can get the stuff down without stuff falling. And I have started Volume 3. Now, I'm not even halfway into Volume 3. I'm just kind of taking my time with it because, hey, what's the rush? I'm not on no deadline with this stuff, whatever. But yeah, still enjoying this series. Honestly, not to sound too corny or cliche or whatever, but Call of the Night, the best time for me to read it is late at night. So sometimes, on days when I don't have nothing to do late at night or whatever, I'll read a chapter or two of it or whatever, and it just seems to be perfect for a little late night reading. But yeah, Call of the Night, just a reminder, this is the one about a high schooler named Ko, who or a teenager, I'll just say teenager named Ko, who basically he's not enjoying going to school and just doing traditional stuff, whatever. But he enjoys the nightlife. He enjoys being out at night because the vibe is different or whatever. And he just enjoys that vibe. And he ends up meeting this vampire. And so he ends up meeting this vampire named Nazuna. And so basically he is trying to fall in love with her so that he can become a vampire, because in this world, that's how you become a vampire, is if a vampire bites you and you're infatuated with them. That's how you become a vampire. And so things have started to escalate in a way beyond more than just these two. We started getting introduced to more characters, more human characters, as well as in Volume 3, more vampire characters. So that's very dope. I'm excited to see and to continue to meet more of these characters. I really like the design of more of these cute vampire ladies. Those of you looking at the video, seeing. But yeah, so still enjoying that series. So those are two volumes that I read recently this week. Now, a few things that I picked up, that I want to show off, and most of this was this weekend. So, I just went ahead and picked up Volume 7 of 20th Century Boys Perfect Edition. Just went ahead and picked it up because I know I'm going to need it at some point because I'm reading through the series. I'm going to need all the volumes eventually. I showed y'all earlier, I picked up Kaiju number 8. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, this is a little exclusive for those of y'all that actually listen to the podcast. So, when I got this a while ago, as soon as I walked into Books A Million, it was just right there at the front. Hey, new release, fresh off the truck probably. And so at first I almost didn't get it because I'm already reading the volume on Shonen. I'm already reading it online on the Shonen Jump app through Viz. And so I was like, I'm trying not to buy stuff that I'm already reading there. But I'm also wanting to show support for these series that I like. So like this and Mashle and Spy Family and Undead Unluck and Sakamoto Days is coming out in a couple of months, the physical English volumes of that or whatever. And so I have an idea. I'm going to toss this out there, see if anybody give any feedback or whatever. I think it would be very dope to do some manga giveaways. I'm potentially thinking about, in the coming month or so, getting together certain series or whatever and doing maybe like some themed manga volume giveaways, like especially for stuff like this that I've already read. And honestly, I would like to do it with even more stuff that I've already read. Like, hey, okay, I gave my first impressions of Karate Survivor. Hey, if that sounded cool to you, maybe I'll start doing some giveaways of some volumes or whatever. I think that'd be kind of a fun way, of like, okay, hey, you gave your time listening to me and my thoughts on something. It sounds interesting to you or whatever. I'll pay your time back with, getting some of y'all some stuff, whatever. So we'll see. Like I said, just some ideas cooking or whatever. If that sounds like a cool idea to y'all, let me know. Tweet at me, DM me on Twitter, Instagram, at Danny's to Talk. Reach out to me via email, via dnttpodcast@gmail.com. Any of those places, just let me know. Would y'all like some manga giveaways? I think it'd be a cool thing to do. So another thing I picked up, and this is one I ordered off of Amazon because it was on sale. It was like $4 or $5 off, whatever. I finally got volume 1 of number 5. Now I have been eyeballing this series since I first laid my eyes on this pretty, I think, very cool and unique cover. Since I laid my eyes on it back during the summer, and especially with volume 2 came out a few weeks ago, whatever, and that cover looks very cool too. So so those who don't know, so number 5, or or should I be more specific, these editions of number 5 are basically like redistributions of this older series. They came out years back. Let me see. Number 5 ran from 2000 to 2005 across 8 volumes. It is a sci-fi thriller series. So, let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to look at this. See how they're breaking this down. So I believe they are doing 2-in-1s. Let's see. Yeah, Viz got the license. Yada yada yada. Let's see. Yeah, they're republishing the series. Yeah. So, but basically, yeah. So they are re-releasing the series, and like I said, I believe that they are doing 2-in-1 volumes because these things are pretty thick, and they have, I don't know if this has the volume or the chapter count. No, it doesn't. But anywho, it's pretty thick. It has a lot of chapters, but the art and stuff in this, make sure ain't nothing risque on this page. Looks really cool. you know. So like I said, just looks interesting, piqued my interest, and that is what I like about manga hunting. Just you never know what you're gonna come across. So this last one that I picked up, or these last two, these are from a series that if I remember correctly, I learned the most about them from a friend over on Instagram who goes by the name of Gemini Manga. Go check out his channel. He does lots of awesome videos and content around manga, and maybe I'll get him on the podcast someday. I think that'd be very cool. But it is called Saturn Apartments, and I got Volume 1 and Volume 2. And so the basic synopsis for this is: far in the future, humankind has evacuated the Earth in order to preserve it. Humans now reside on a gigantic structure that forms a ring around the Earth, 35 kilometers up in the sky. The society of the ring is highly stratified. The higher the floor, the greater the status. Mitsu, who is our main character, is the lowly son of a window washer. Has just graduated junior high. When his father disappears and is assumed dead, Mitsu must take on his father's occupation. As he struggles with the transition to working life, Mitsu's job treats him to an outsider's view into the living room dioramas of the Saturn Apartments. And so this is just like a very dope, like I said, just interesting, little sci-fi slice of life type of series. Like I said, just about this kid who doesn't know what happened to his dad. His dad was a window washer, which that type of job alone is stressful, especially if you're doing like on skyscrapers or whatever. But imagining you're a window washer for a colony that is basically for like a space station, basically. So yeah, don't ever know what's gonna happen. Potentially you might fall down to Earth or whatever. Too many hazards, your rope cuts loose, you fall off into space, whatever. But yeah, so I'm very interested into checking out this series. Like I said, it's been on my radar for a while, and so I finally decided, I was like, you know what, screw it, let's go ahead and pull the trigger and check it out, see and dive into the series and give it a shot. So, cause like I said, it is a little bit of an older series, kind of a simple style, but yeah, a little bit of an older series that honestly I had never really even heard of before this. And let me see, because Saturn Apartments, let's see, this ran from 2005 to 2011, and it only had 7 volumes. Now, one thing I will say is that some of these volumes are extremely hard to find. It seems like, for whatever reason, it seems like volumes 3 and 4 are the rarest and hardest to find, because I got 1 and 2 no problem, and I've seen volume 7 for sure no problem to get, and I think 5 and 6 are fairly, they're more common to find as well. But 3 and 4, I might have to just get those digitally. Heck, I might just get the rest of the series digitally. But I wanted to at least like have what I could physically. So, but yeah. So like I said, that's just like a couple of my little pickups from this last week. So 20th Century Boys, number 5, Saturn Apartments, and of course, like I said, Kaiju number 8 is on deck. So yeah, like I said, y'all, get out there, get some manga, But yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed that last little segment there at the end. Like I said, it's trying something new. Hopefully, if y'all enjoyed it, I'm gonna try to keep doing it when possible and stuff. So, but yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of let's wrap the show up. So, as always, thank you for listening to another episode of Dad Needs to Talk podcast. As always, forgive me for not doing it all the time, but shout out to Rifty Beats for the music. Of course, this ending theme, the outro theme, it's very on point this week, considering it is like a remix of the traditional JoJo's theme, and we talked about JoJo Part 6 today, so very fitting. But yeah, so as always, you can find me online. You can follow me on Twitter at Dad Needs to Talk, on Instagram at Dad Needs to Talk Podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to the Dad Needs to Talk YouTube channel so you can see the video version of the podcast, as well as any other videos and content that I do there. And go to Dad Needs to Talk, which is the central hub for all things that I do. And yeah, like I said, we're kind of getting close towards the end of the year, so I'm trying to plan out some cool stuff. I'm hoping to do a manga haul video for what I'm calling November, much like how I did my September, October manga haul. I'm gonna do a November, December combined manga haul of everything I've picked up over the last couple of months, and also looking to do some type of like year-end recap of like some of like my favorite manga series that I've come across, favorite anime, favorite games, all that fun jazz. And yeah, and I'm already planning stuff for early next year. I already have some awesome dope guests and collaborations lined up for the coming months, so look forward to that. And yeah, we have some more awesome stuff coming up, because we got the Witcher Netflix series is coming back at the end of next weekend, as well as the new Spider-Man movie coming out next week as well. So lots of great stuff coming up as we head into the end of 2021. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day and the rest of y'all week. Like I said, let me know what y'all think of the idea of maybe me doing some manga giveaways, and we'll see where that goes. But yeah, as always, y'all take care of yourselves, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime, play some video games, and live your life. Now I'm just head off to bed so I can go get ready for this blue badge life. Your boy is making some moves, and so we'll see where this journey is going to take me. But that's it for me. Y'all be easy. Love y'all. Thanks for the support as always, and peace.